Well, we are here today with G.W. Carroll and his son Bruce Carroll from the Montague area. My name is Tanya Kabala, and this is Oscar Osbo, who's doing the video work. And this interview is being conducted for the White Lake Environmental History Project. And do want to check with both of you. Have you read the legal release and agreed to be interviewed?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And would like to get a start with just a few details, and maybe GW, you can start. How did you get to the White Lake area? What's your history here? Do you have a little family history?
I came to the White Lake area because I went to work for a company called CMI, and I started to work for them in 1973. And I moved the family up in 74, and we bought a lot in what is now Blueberry Ridge and started building a house. But before I bought the lot, I checked with all the neighbors and everything was fine, and the neighbor across the street, everything was fine, no problems with the water or anything. And so I built the house in the spring of 74.
We moved in the spring of 75.
Yes.
In May.
And the water tasted terrible, and I thought, well, that's because of a new well and the pickling in the pipes. But it got worse. It started smelling like the back room of a dry cleaning establishment. And I got no help from any of the local people, and everybody kept saying, it's Hooker, it's Hooker. So I hired Wynn Dahlstrom, and we went after Hooker. And all we wanted was drinking water. In the meantime, I was getting water from across the street for drinking and cooking. But we were showering and everything using the water from the well.
Well, can we take a little step back and tell me what you thought of the White Lake area and what you thought of White Lake when you came here?
It was great. Living where I live with the lake the way it was in Lake Michigan, and moving here, I promised the boys, I have 4 sons, that we would buy snowmobiles the first winter. I told them that in Ohio, but they held me to it when we moved up here. So we had snowmobiles, but I love the area and I think it's great.
So you found out about the pollution firsthand?
Yes.
Do you, when you found out about the pollution, you talked to people in the area. What did people have to say about it?
Well, let's face it, Hooker was the big employer, and nobody had too much to say about it because there was too many people that worked there. But like I told the manager, Dwayne Coploys, all we're after is drinking water. Water we can drink, shower in, and the whole thing. And the people across the street, their water was fine. And so we hired, then after some inner fighting back and forth with Dwayne Coploys, they finally ran a line from the lodge to our house. And that's where we got our water.
So your house was the first house in Blueberry Ridge that was found to have contaminated drinking water?
Yes.
Now, after your house was found to have this, or your drinking water was found to be contaminated, did other homeowners test their water?
No. They tested it, but it was fine.
Okay.
The plume, as they call it, came right through where we built. Now,
what was that, like 8 months after we moved in?
yeah.
So we took showers in it for 8 months. And it was a little reddish color too.
And what did it taste like? You don't
Terrible.
remember? Yeah.
It wasn't.
I'll tell
pretty.
you,
It wasn't pretty.
I have some friends that used to make a joke out of it. A couple of them worked at Hooker, and I used to say, come on over to our house and test it. Try it. No, I don't want any part of it. It got so you could make ice cubes and put it in a drink of whiskey. It tasted terrible.
So now I know that some other homes had drinking water issues too. I talked to Jane Hanna and Beth Hunt and Jim Casino.
They didn't have that problem.
Maybe as much as you had, because yours was right in the middle of the plume.
Hannah's didn't build their house till, they never moved into Blueberry Ridge till what, 78, 79?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now there's houses in Blueberry Ridge right now that if they drilled down for the water would be bad. But at that time they weren't.
Because I know they had talked about how they kind of organized as part of the Blueberry Ridge subdivision to, pressure Hooker Chemical and things like that. And were you part of their efforts, or did you do yours more on your own?
No, my wife was part of their efforts, but we were the ones that discovered it. And there's the Ingblades, where their house is built. That would be bad now. And there's several other houses, but at that time there wasn't that many houses in Blueberry Ridge.
Oh, okay.
So they just ran a city line from the
Yeah.
From the lodge.
city water.
No, they ran it from the city.
Oh,
City.
from the city.
Yeah, then they ran a line from the city right to
Yeah.
our house.
We were the only one that was getting the water from the lodge.
So you first got the water from the lodge?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But now you have it right from the city?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then they ran a city line, didn't they? Just to our house, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was, and then they, what year was it when they did the whole neighborhood? That was in the 80s, wasn't it?
Well, 80, in the 80s.
Yeah, and then the entire subdivision is now on
Yes.
city
Yeah.
water.
What really brought a lot of this to head where we really started realizing we had a problem in Blueberry Ridge was at Love Canal. That's part of the organization.
Hooker Chemical Company owned it,
Yes.
or was responsible for the
Responsible.
problem at Love Canal.
Occidental Petroleum. They owned Hooker.
And so that was in the news, and
Oh yeah, it was in the news, and we had Brick Yoon at our house. Sarah Kennedy, she was another that worked with Brick Yoon. I don't know what happened to her, but Brick Yoon's on ABC. And,
well, how did that come about?
well,
What year was that? 78.
78.
ABC was doing a special on, what was it, toxic waste in America.
Yes.
And they came in the summertime and interviewed you and Mom, didn't they?
Yeah. In fact, I made ABC 6 o'clock news.
National news.
Yeah.
We took them out on the pontoon boat and showed them where the pipe went out in the lake and stuff. And then they were there for like, what, how many days? 2 days?
2 days.
Did they stay at your house?
No, they stayed in a motel, but they hung out at our house for 2 days.
But they wanted to go on Hooker property, but they wouldn't let them on.
Now, was your water still contaminated? I mean, you were still drinking the contaminated water then?
No.
No.
Okay. You'd already gotten the city
Yeah, this
water.
was like, when they were there in 78? Was it 78? Summer 78?
78, yes.
Or 77, or, yeah, 78.
Well, we got water from the lodge in 77, wasn't it?
No, we moved in and, no,
We moved in 75.
so you got, the water you got like 8 months later, right?
Yeah.
So like in 76.
76.
Now, how did you end up getting Hooker Chemical to be responsible for that?
Well, I have to say Wynn Dahlstrom. Wynn was going after him, and And I think co-employees knew that, and so all of a sudden they started digging a trench from the lodge right over to our house.
So Wint was your attorney,
Oh, yes, we hired Wynn, yes.
and he probably took some samples of the water. And
Well, no one around here, Wynn said, it's time us don't fool with these people because they're all under Hooker's wing. So we sent the water to the University of Cincinnati to be checked. And it came back, and then of course, right away, this made Poise change his mind on a bunch of things.
so you remember what was in the water? Good question.
I don't remember.
Was
I
it?
don't remember.
Okay. But it was high enough. It was chemicals and high enough levels to be of concern.
I could probably do some digging at home through some files and find what it was, but
They had all those barrels. It probably came from all those barrels he dumped out
Yes.
back by the railroad tracks.
we named that the Valley of the Drums.
I think I've heard that.
It was right off of Whitback.
Yeah.
We used to go jogging and snowmobiling down along the tracks, and they were all just laying there.
They had an open pond there. I'll just put this in,
Mhm.
and it wasn't closed up or anything. And our dog went over there and went in and got up to his stomach, and it burnt his legs bad.
So he had some damage from that.
Oh yeah, his legs didn't even, the hair never even grew back on his legs.
Yeah.
He was an elk hound, like a husky.
So you knew something was going on.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when I look back now, we have a lot of friends that worked at Hooker. They said there was nothing wrong, but as soon as they decided to close the plant, those guys started talking.
And what kind of stories did they have to tell?
Well, just how sloppy they were with some of the chemicals. It was bad.
When you started raising these issues and went Dahlstrom too, what was the reaction from the larger community?
Well, they thought we were just trying to close the plant. We weren't trying to close the plant. And we had, that was my wife, she got a bunch of telephone calls over a period of several months, raising the devil with her, and she used to say, just come over and drink some of our water.
Copoise would come over, the manager, and talk to her. Remember all the time?
Yeah.
And she'd throw him out of the garage, I remember. Tell him to get the hell out of here.
So your wife was kind of the activist?
Oh yeah, V was. I mean, she could do a real good job on this interview because I was working, you know.
Then at night when they let the stack gases go out, you could smell it real bad. Remember that? You'd be gone,
Oh yeah.
and he'd come over. Him or the engineer would come over, Copoise.
I don't smell anything.
So your mom would call up.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
What other kinds of things did she do? I heard she was at a protest, or maybe several.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
I wish she could be here. She'd really let you know everything. Oh yeah, she protested. Remember, they used to picket all the time in front of Hooker.
Yeah.
They had a real nice sign down there at the corner of Old Channel and Whitback, and an office building there too. Yeah. So they'd all picket out there.
What about any local government leaders, like, local government mayors, or did anybody, was anybody concerned?
Not really, because like I said, this is it was a small town, biggest employer, and they didn't want to upset the apple cart.
What about, did you have any contact with, like, state representatives or senators or federal?
I did with Vanderjack. He was the representative at that time. He didn't do any good. That's why we tried all that, the health department, Vanderjack, anybody you could think of. But that's why then we decided, let's hire Windallstrom.
What year did Hooker try to buy you out? Pay you off? Remember they came over?
Yeah,
Boys did?
That was 79.
Where he tried to give you money?
Yeah, they tried to give me money and I wouldn't take it.
To sell out your house?
No.
No, just to shut up and all that.
Yeah, wasn't it like a $10,000 check he brought over or something?
Yeah,
Back at 70, yeah.
And that was after you had the water,
Yeah.
but just
Yeah.
to quiet you
Yeah.
down. And
I think my mom threw it at him.
she sounds like quite a woman. So, what was your viewpoint of Hooker Chemical as far as being, you know?
well, we had so much trouble with them, we didn't want anything to do with them, to be honest. And I look back now, and a lot of that was Coproy's doings. Because they finally, and I can't think of the fellow's name, but they sent him in, and he was a real nice person, and he realized all the problems we'd had and everybody else had had. And that's when he got Coproy's moved back to Niagara.
So things changed when the management changed.
Yes.
Yeah, who was that new manager? I can't remember his
Well, I
name.
can't remember his name either. He's a real nice fella. But a lot of this was Coproy's.
So maybe not wanting to deal with the issues, or
Well, I don't think he wanted to deal with it. I don't think he really wanted the top management to know what was going on.
Because we know a lot of the employees that worked there for years, and they're all great people around here.
Yeah.
A lot of them are friends still. You know.
so not they didn't get mad at you for what you were doing.
And the plant wasn't closed because of the Carrolls. It was closed because they could no longer make 356.
C-56.
Or T-
C-56.
Okay, that was the money maker, and they quit making it, and that changed everything.
When you had Brett Hume here and were showing him around, what kind of what kind of information was he looking for? Do you remember?
Basically, this is what you were asking, and then we told him about the drinking water and so forth and so on.
What are you aware of any of the cleanup that's been done by any of the companies in the area, or any of the changes to White Lake in the, I don't know, past couple decades?
Well, I don't think they're dumping the stuff in the lake that they used to. I think they're cleaning it up good, to be honest with you. But there's a lot of stuff still in that lake, I'm sure, between Hooker and the leather plant
And DuPont.
and DuPont.
What do you see kind of for the future of White Lake?
Well, I think it's going to be good because people like you and other people are making sure we're not dumping stuff in there anymore.
I think it's a lot cleaner now than it was 30 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think we've learned, the community's learned any lessons?
Oh, I think so. I think we're on the right track. It's going to take years to clean it up. But if we've got to have people like you and all the rest of the people that want that lake cleaned up.
Do you have anything to add that I didn't ask?
You know all about the mound and everything, right?
The clay, the vault, yeah.
The vault. Yeah, that's 10 football. It's about 10 football fields big.
Were you involved in all in the effort to that part of the cleanup?
No, they would. it would run us out if
We just watched the trucks go by.
go by.
I think it was in, what year was that, in 80?
Might have been 81, 82.
81, 82, they went back and forth to a farm field out on a fruit bale and got the clay.
Oh, okay.
Semi trucks for weeks,
You know, they even
months on end, back and forth.
they even buried the trucks and file cabinets, desks, everything right in that ground.
Dozers, everything they used to put those barrels in, backhoes.
Now, I know I've talked to some people who were involved a little bit in overseeing that agreement between the state and Hooker Chemical. Did your wife have any involvement in that?
No.
She went to meetings, didn't she go?
Yeah, she used to go to meetings.
Yeah, she went to all the meetings, but
Then over the years, she has had people from various universities and so forth stop, and they wanted information. And about 5 or 6 years ago, and I can't really tie it down exactly when, but we had several of the people from Hooker come around and wanting to pull everybody's well.
in Blueberry Ridge.
In Blueberry Ridge. I wouldn't let, and they let them. And I wouldn't let them pull my well. In fact, they came by again 6 months ago, last fall, wanted to pull the well. And I'm telling you what I told him. No way will I let you pull my well, because one of these days somebody, an Occidental, is going to say, why are we spending all this money on free water for all these people? Let's just tell them the water's good and they got to pay for their own water. I'm not going to let them do it, because they got to convince me that it's all cleared up. Because I got a 48-inch pipe wrench, and I'll take the top off of that well and check the well myself, send it away.
So that's your own insurance.
And I've told my boys this too. Because I think you were at one of the meetings when one of the guys from the EPA said it could take 100 years to clear up that water.
Well, I think it might even be
More than that.
more than that. I think the estimate now is I had heard anywhere from 400 to 1,000 years for that groundwater. And likely from the barrels sitting on top of the ground and the groundwater.
So you got the only well left in Blueberry Ridge.
Yeah. But, it's costing Occidental a lot of money now. And one of these days they're going to say, hey, we got to stop that, let them buy their own water from the city.
How long do they think that vault's going to last, that clay vault?
I don't have an idea of the life of the vault. But it's already been since, I think, 81, 82.
Yeah, 30 years.
Yeah. I have heard, though, that it seems to be intact and
That's good.
and protective of the hazardous materials, which is good.
Well, that's about all I can add unless you got some more questions. But there was a lot of fighting between myself, my wife, with Dwayne Coproy's. I know I'm mentioning his name a hell of a lot, but it's the truth.
I wonder if he's still alive.
No, he's dead.
Is he? All right.
Yeah.
Well, I know, the companies are made up of people, and, and you've had your experience with both, the person who didn't help and then the person later who did help.
Well, it's like I told Dwayne one time in one of our arguments. I said, all industry makes mistakes. And if it's called to their attention, they stop making them again. But you won't admit to your mistake. I remember, I'll add this, shortly after we got in the house and we had the rotten water, I took our dog for a walk down to the lake on the road behind our subdivision, and there was a manhole cover, and I could smell the stuff coming out of it. And I took the cover off, and oh, it was terrible. It smelled like our water. So, as soon as I got back, the next day I called Dwayne Coploy and told him about it. He said, listen, if we catch you on there again, we're going to put your butt in jail. But it was, and that manhole was going, the stuff in there was going right into the lake.
Bruce, did you have anything else to add?
No, I think you about explained everything.
So like I said, all industry makes mistakes. If they correct them or quit doing it, and there's stuff that we all used to do working in the industry that won't go now.
Yeah. Do you think attitudes have changed?
Huh?
You
Oh,
think
yeah.
attitudes have
yes.
changed?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
People are a lot smarter and more safety conscious about things
Yeah.
now.
We've just got to clean this environment up.
But it's too bad it takes something like that to teach everybody.
Yeah.
A big lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.